Slacktail Squad, assemble.
If you are listening to this, you are a member of the Great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and Lord High Commander of the Great Slaptail Nation Army. And with me today, live from the Uniden, on this majestic May 4th, is my number 2, the Rods.
Hey, Beaveman.
What?
I was waiting.
What the actual fuck, dude? That's your intro.
Usually, as the Lower High Command on this particular day, the Emperor or the Darth, if you will, tells me when I can speak. I didn't know if I was allowed to speak without being force choked. So,
Well,
hey,
I
Beaveman,
did
how's
give
it
you
going?
your intro, and that should have been enough for you to speak. So I don't know why you didn't, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, hey, Beaveman, how's it going? You can see we have a full house today.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, that's fucking great, buddy. Fucking great. You hang in there. We're pulling for you.
Uh-huh. All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, usually I'd ask you how things were going, but I'm so disappointed in you right now that I'm just going to move on.
All right, move on.
All right. Also with us today, funny man. Don't call me Michael. Mike Cotayo. Mike, how are you doing? Do you think he knows he's muted? How long before you think he realizes he's muted? No.
We're about to find
It's
out.
okay. It's okay. I don't mind editing. I'll probably leave it in though.
There he is.
Hi.
Why he looks so sad? Why he looks so sad? Why you look so sad?
I'm just tired. I had 2 doctor's appointments today. I have to go for an endoscopy tomorrow.
Oh,
And it's
For the
all,
an upper endoscopy.
yeah.
You can do that without sedation, right? You can just relax your throat after all those years of practice.
Exactly. No gag reflex whatsoever.
It's like just keep jamming it down. This guy's not even choking. He's not even asking for more drugs.
Well, you can't talk with your mouth full. How would you ask for more drugs?
Hand signals.
Okay.
Trust me.
Right.
Trust me. If you need more drugs, people ask for them. Doesn't matter. All right. Well, also with us today, sporting the Grogu shirt in honor of May 4th, Jumanji.
Good evening, B-Man.
Good evening, Jumanji.
Good evening. Good evening,
Ron?
ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, all right.
Good
Ron?
evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As I said, today is May 4th. Tomorrow will be May 5th. So Revenge of the 5th. Today, May the 4th be with you. But there's a new thing out there, new circulating thing. This is the May. So I guess May is all Star Wars all the time, which is awesome because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as we all know. I am sporting today I will sports my shirt in honor of the Rebel Alliance, but tomorrow, because it's Revenge of the 5th, I will most likely be wearing my Darth Vader shirt because, as we all know, people who know me well also know that I love Darth Vader. Old school Darth Vader, not the pansy Darth Vader from the, quote, first 3 movies.
How was he a pansy? He force choked anybody who he didn't like.
What are you talking about?
Well, okay, maybe I'm old
so
school.
In the first movie, quote, the first movie, The Phantom Menace, he's a child, so he doesn't
Okay, I get that. Okay, now I understand.
Doesn't force choke anyone. And the second one, he's like a love-sick teenager who bounds through freaking fields of corn. And he's very annoying. And very
please continue after I've said I've got it.
And then in the third movie, he's slightly more dark, but he doesn't become Darth Vader till the very end of the movie.
Understood.
Ron,
Understood.
You know,
yes.
If you open that door, he's going to walk your ass all the way through the house.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It was my mistake. I actually remember the movies when I first saw them back in 1977, I think was the first one. So that's how I remember them. not the 1, 2, 3. Actually, I think it was. All right. Someone's using the force there.
All right.
May
So
the fourth be with
speaking of anger, because
Yeah.
because Ron's likes to make me angry.
I try not to.
We had to do that. This is what I would like to think is going to probably be a series of podcasts specifically about anger, because anger is fun. Anger is funny. Anger is, well, it's not really. It's very just makes you angry. But as I've said before, this podcast is my sort of a form of therapy for me. So we use comedy to deal with anger, but I'm one of those people that knows when the anger is just welling over, and so I like to warn people around me. I haven't warned Ron's because I don't see him that much, but I did warn Jumanji. Did I not, Jumanji? Did I warn you ahead of time?
Yes.
That it was coming.
Yes.
Yes. Some people manifest their depression as anger, and I'm one of those people. I don't really get, quote, depressed. I just get very angry, which is fine if you can separate yourself from other people, which is what I do. But anger can be fun, and it can be funny. Rons, you are a pretty laid-back guy, or you used to be before you started working. Since after you started working, you've become more angry. What's going on with that?
Oh, geez. What's that going? What the hours, of course, they cut my hours and they still expect you to maintain these hours. Two, working third shifts is just taxing on anybody, and you've been there, I've been there, right? It's not really fun. It's a job, and you work with idiots, right? Sometimes you work with a lot of angry, different people. It's just one of those things.
And what determines if someone's an idiot in comparison to yourself, by the way?
Oh, well, that's a very, very good question. I won't say that I am not the head idiot. I can be an idiot. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's okay. But when people call other people idiots, you're like, well, what's the difference? I mean, what's the determination on whether somebody's an idiot or not? I personally do not consider myself to be the smartest person alive. But yeah, if somebody's just a blatant idiot, then I guess it's okay to call them out on that.
You're one of the smartest people I know.
it's sad.
Well, you have a very small, very small selection of people that you know, Jumanji. So, but thank you. As
True.
I always say, you are my greatest fan.
I am.
He is. So how are you dealing with this newfound anger of you, Ron? Because no, really, you used to be so much more laid back before you started working.
There's a lot of things going on that I deal with. I mean, I suffer from, like anybody else, highs and lows. And actually, believe it or not, Beaveman, this kind of helps me. Right? I like being part of the podcast. I really do. I like meeting, I read, how do I word this correctly? Oh, fuck it. I'll just say it. I like being part of something that's a lot bigger than me. I really do. I rather enjoy it. I'm not trying to be too serious about it, but, Mike comes on and I listen to his routine. I listen to Jumanji, as we'll call him now, right? And you guys, there are times where it gets me down. Of course, I snap back, of course, but there are times where it's like, it is what it is. It's just a lot of fun sometimes.
All right, profound words from the Rons.
Can be.
Yeah. What do you feel like anything else suffers in your life, like your diet, your exercise, your routine,
diet always sleep? Suffers. I mean, I'm a junk food junkie. I mean, I'm up to energy drinks, and I don't like drinking energy drinks.
You're drinking energy drinks now?
Yeah.
Oh man.
At 4 or 5 in the morning just to keep going.
Wow. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that. I tell patients never to drink energy drinks. They're banned in some countries.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, because they kill people. Yeah, it's the rare person that dies from drinking an energy drink, but it does happen.
Yeah. I've heard that before. But I try not to drink too many, but I do drink on occasion.
Too much caffeine makes me shard.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I think a lot of maybe water makes you short too, and just day-to-day activity in life seems to make you short. So, I mean, like a Werther's candy chart,
Right.
breakfast cereal chart.
There's a rainbow chart.
That's the that's the gay chart.
So moving on then. Ron's angry
Yes.
person, not dealing with it well. Okay, that's fine. Do you find yourself snapping?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh hell yes. Yeah.
And what happens when you snap?
I if truth be told, it's I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't. I honestly, I mean, I try to think it through all the way through to see the consequences, and sometimes it's a very dark consequence that you don't want to step over that line, right?
Uh-huh.
You have a we all have a Jekyll and Hyde personality, right? And what happens if you can't stop that Jekyll side or that Hyde side? I mean, there's got to be a balance. I mean, I listen to Mike's routine, and it's like you can tell that
angry?
comedy.
So that makes you angry?
Oh no! Mike's comedy is his outlet because you see him walk on the stage, and I mean, it's great. And then you talk to Tremonde here, and it's like he is just so
Jumanji?
mellow.
Jumanji.
You're right. I've never seen
love editing.
Jumanji.
Editing's awesome.
Are we going to call him Jumanji now from now on? I mean, I can.
You're so cute, man.
I can.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Rons, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because, I understand that it's hard. Words are hard. Remembering things is hard. How many times do you think we'll have to remind you to call him Jumanji?
At least 3 to 4 times. A bare minimum of twice.
You've been looking to play that soundbite.
Swan still calls him Tremonde on air.
Yeah,
but that's the Swan. She's sleeping with the Beaveman. I'm not.
She's sleeping in the same bed.
Well, if you play your cards right, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, she's not having sex with me, so
Well,
that you know of.
Yeah, you're right, because according to Ron's, somebody can be having sex with you while you're asleep and you would never know.
Maybe the Swan is his Tuesday hoe.
Yeah.
No.
He's seen that in those pornos where they're slow to wake up 12 minutes into a blowjob.
Yeah. What? Oh, hey, I'll just go with it.
Well, who would? I mean, honestly.
It would seem she was on the receiving end of a good-sized prick.
Mm-hmm. One of the people that I know that doesn't seem to ever get angry, though, is Jumanji. Why is that, Jumanji?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Why don't you ever get freaking angry?
I do. And what I was just thinking as Rons was talking is sometimes we don't allow ourselves to step over that line. And Rons, I think that that's something that we honestly should work on, because I think part of the reason why we get angry is because people treat us the way that they treat us. And they treat us that way because we allow them to, because we don't get angry and tell them, hey, fucking stop. We are so mindful about what we're saying and how we're saying it that it gets washed away and our honest feelings go with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's
I know.
I no, thank you. There you go. Yeah, I do believe you are correct. I mean, there's a certain situation where I don't think so. And honestly, here's the other part of that is I don't think people can handle the raw truth. I know they can't, right? Because if they think you're a pushover and you come at them full blast, they're like, wow, I never expected that. And then they double down, you double down, it could go really bad. I try to take a cue from you, right? I watch you when we were over at the Beaveman's house doing a podcast, and you and I and the Beaveman and the Swan were all in the same room, and those two were going at it, and I looked over at you, and you were calm as fuck. I mean, you were like ice. I mean, I think I leaned over, and I'm like, is this what happens all the time?
Yeah,
and you just kind of nodded your head like, yeah.
What would he do?
Well, I thought he would be the peacemaker.
What would be his recourse? What would be the wise recourse? Is it wise?
I always thought that
wise to stick your arm in between two battling badgers. Is that a Is that a really smart thing to do? Do you think?
It might. It might. It
Uh-huh.
might. But I when I was watching Jumanji, I mean, he was just like, let's see where this goes. As long
Well,
as it
that's probably the
doesn't
wiser
turn
thing
into
to
a physical
do.
altercation.
That's probably the wiser thing to do, don't you think? I mean, the minute you go, I was thinking, shut the fuck up. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, we just never know where it's going to go with you sometimes, too.
Well, you do know that it's not any of it is not serious. You do know that we're just
Yeah.
you do know we're just playing characters, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
But
okay.
some people don't see that either.
Who's
I've
some
had
people?
an incident in
Who's
real
some
life
people?
where I've had an incident in real life where they think, wow, if the Beaveman talks to Ron like that, I can too. I'm like, no, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, but why would anybody think that they could talk to you?
Because, okay, it goes
Did
back
you
to
know this is a show, right? The people at Great Slaptail Nation, you know this is a show, right?
because some people can't define the reality between fantasy.
This is a show. We play characters. We talk about stuff, funny stuff. You won't learn anything. We don't actually, there's roles that we play on this show. Ron's is the number 2. He is the whipping boy. He is the he is the welcome mat. That's the role that
The
he
welcome
plays.
mat. There you go. And what would Jumanji's role
he's the
be?
town bicycle. Everybody's had a ride. In this way,
Wow, there we go. That was that. Wow. Okay. So, what would be Jumanji's role then? Is he the peacemaker?
I don't know. The important thing is that you're the whipping boy and you're the welcome mat. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that cares. What else matters?
Only the number 2 matter, Ron.
Yeah, when you're not here, Swan fills that role.
So your role is important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
now shut up and let's move on. All right.
I will.
No,
Yeah, let's.
I was kidding.
And cool.
So your metric in life is how Jumanji responds to things. That's how you live your life. You've got that little bracelet. Your WWJD actually stands for Jumanji. Not Jesus. Is that what it is?
WWJD.
No. But I do take a cue to see how he handles things because I can learn from him.
Thank you, Ron.
I like to see what I can actually alter in my life and remove myself from that situation. That's what I do.
I grew up a very, very angry person, so I spent years trying to figure out how to calm myself down. My mother.
What's your go-to technique?
Well,
If you shut up and tell you.
I acknowledge it. I acknowledge that I'm angry, and I say, I'm sorry. Let's come back to this later if I need a break. Or admitting it is half the battle, because we so often don't admit we're angry that it festers and just comes out at inappropriate times. Or with
That's not something I do.
people.
I always admit I'm angry. I always admit I'm angry.
Yeah, but do you use it to calm down?
Admitting that I'm angry? No, I'm always angry. I'm like the Hulk. I'm always angry. That's my secret.
All right.
It's not a secret. Everybody knows that I'm always angry. It's just a matter of what level is the anger at. Probably the past year is the happiest I've been in probably, I don't know, decades. But no, I'm always mostly angry.
How does your anger show?
Huh?
How does your anger show?
I don't know. Most of the time, I don't think I show it most of the time. But I think that I have this. I do feel like that I have this aura. Like Swan always tells me, she's like, I don't know why people always come up and talk to me. I'm like, I don't know. That's never happened to me. I'm like, I think that people can look at me and see like this cloud. Like my rainbow is shades of gray and black. So I think that most people don't approach me about anything. Whereas Swan can be pumping gas and someone talks to her. But that doesn't happen to me. She's always like, I don't know why people come up to me and talk to me and tell me their whole life story. I'm like, well, maybe you look approachable. I'm like, but that has never happened to me. People don't just come up to me and start talking.
How often do you smile? Or do you realize that you're smiling?
Mostly just if I'm listening to like comedy or I hear funny things or like I laugh a lot. I don't know that I quote smile all the time. I have a pretty like set facial pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I always look. I don't know that I look disinterested. I just think that I don't look very approachable, and that was one of those looks that I trained myself really hard to have when I first entered the military. Like you wanted to look professional and scary.
Yeah, they kind of train you to be, or you train yourself to be emotionless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't show emotion when you're getting yelled at. Don't show emotion when you're marching. Don't show emotion in your job whatsoever. Right? You're not there to show emotion. You're there to do something else. Save it for somewhere else because it's not needed there.
Yeah, and that was all like that's the outward appearance of things, but with the people that you do those jobs with, you're like all of you are pretty like immature children, you know, who are entrusted with millions of dollars worth of equipment and can blow shit up and do all kinds of cool things. But the outward appearance, you know, from people looking at you, they just see like this, you know, quiet, stoic, you know, whatever weapon, which again is not approachable.
Oh, I agree.
You know, I always wanted to go into the armed services just to say, like, just to get that discipline. I can't, but I always wanted to.
Hmm.
You could. You still can. You go into the special forces.
It's special for special needs.
Oh, where's my phone?
Okay.
He can
My
go.
attempt to
I'm
humor
sorry.
sucks.
Go ahead. Let's try it again.
No.
Say
Okay.
he
So,
can be in
okay.
special. Go ahead and say he can be in special needs forces. Right. Go ahead.
No, I said he could go into the special forces.
And what special needs forces would have been better, Ron's.
Okay.
Well, so
All
what
right,
is
take 3.
special forces? Yeah, like a skill or something?
Oh, nothing.
There we go. Yeah, you have a certain set of skills. That's
Special forces
makes
is service specific. Special forces
Mhm.
is the Army's branch.
Mhm.
Like the Air Force has like their pararescue and air. What do they call it? Air
combat.
combat control teams. And the Navy has the SEALs, and the Marines have Force Recon, but they call them something else now. I don't remember. They call them like Renegades or I don't know, some shit like that. I don't know. Ravagers. I don't know, some weird shit. The Army has more than one type of special quote ops teams. They've got special forces. They've got Delta Force. The Rangers are considered a elite force, that sort of thing. But special forces are the Green Berets. So if you've ever heard of the Green Berets, that's what special
Yeah.
forces are. Yeah. But yeah, you could be the special needs forces. How's that?
There we go.
If Franz would have just gone through with it, he could have killed it.
I could have.
Could have killed it, but he didn't. It's all right. It's all right. I do think it's interesting though that that Ron's looks at it the same way I kind of do. You know, doing this as therapy, it does help out quite a bit. So much so that I don't think I've seen my psychologist for like a year and a half. But I'll be seeing him tomorrow because I'm mad.
So let's flip this. What makes you angry?
Questions like that.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So save it.
Well, when you get to a certain point, everything, you know, pretty much everything. You know, I'm one of those people that stuff goes wrong for me all the time, but it's been like that my whole life. And so usually when that happens, I laugh at it and go, oh, that's pretty typical. That happens to me all the time. I'll give you an example. I was like, oh, I want to go get a milkshake. I want to go get a milkshake. That's not something that I typically do. So I told the daughter, I was like, hey, I want to go get a milkshake. Do you want a milkshake? She's like, sure. Okay. So I go to our local McDonald's. Easy. Machine's broken. Okay. Not a big deal. That happens to me all the time. So then I go to the other end of town and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit up the Dairy Queen. Hit up the Dairy Queen. Drive down the road to the Dairy Queen. It's 8:06. They closed at 8 o'clock. I'm like, okay, not a big deal. This happens to me all the time. Turn down the other end of the road, drive down. You know what? I'm going to go to Frosty Boy. Frosty Boy closed. By now, this is what, 1, 2, 3 places that I've gone. Finally, I go all the way down the road to Culver's that specializes in ice cream or custard, just like Dairy Queen does, but they were open and I was able to get it. But as all this was happening, of course, the Swan is texting back and forth with the daughter who's wondering where the fuck we are because we just went down the road to McDonald's, which is not that far away. But of course, she's texting back and forth and saying, yeah, this place was closed. This place was closed. This place was closed. And the daughter is just texting back and saying, yeah, because it's dad. That happens to him all the time. It doesn't happen to anybody else. We actually have, if anybody wants to go get something, like if you guys all came over and you're like, hey, we should go get this. Go get it, but don't take me with you.
I'm willing to try that. Just to say as an experiment to see if that's true.
It is
Right.
true. If you ever want to wait forever for a table at a restaurant, if you ever want horrible service, anything like that, my family actually will now go, like our whole family, the big family, like me, my
big
brothers, my
family.
mom and dad, they will go. They've learned by now that if we go to a restaurant, we say to be there at a certain time, I will wait to show up, because if I show up, everything will go wrong. If they show up first, things are fine. But if I'm the one that shows up first, it all goes wrong.
That's kind of ironic because where we held your birthday at, that place shut down. They closed.
And they were in, but that was already in the cards. That had nothing to do with me.
Oh, I don't know.
We didn't save them. I mean, obviously we didn't save them, but those things happen. But no, stuff like that happens to me all the time, and because I'm so used to it happening that I laugh it off all the time. I'm like, yeah, that happens to me all the time. But right now, because I'm angry all the time, if anything bad happens now, it's like, oh, you got to be shitting me. Like the other day, okay, we wanted steak. We're like, oh, we're gonna go get steak. We don't usually go out to dinner, period. But like, we're gonna go get steak. For some reason, I have this craving to eat. I'm not gonna say meat, beef.
Oh, please do. Please
It was
do.
craving to eat beef, and so we went down the road, and this was like 6 o'clock. I'm like, the restaurants aren't gonna be busy at 6 o'clock. We go down the road to a restaurant where we had good steak the last time, and they were slam packed. I think it might have been like a prom night or a spring dance or something like that, because it was slam packed. So I said, you know what? Let's just go to this Mexican restaurant where I'm sure they have steak. And Swan's like, okay, fine. So we drive down the road to that Mexican restaurant, full well assuming it's not going to be busy. Well, it wasn't busy, but we still didn't get any service forever. And we finally did. We ordered our steak, and we specifically ordered a meal that had ribeye. So they both had ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
Guy takes our order. We wait forever to get our food. Finally brings our food, puts it down, T-bones. And then he ran off. Like, he just put it down, ran off. And we're sitting there, and I'm looking at this with a Swan. I'm like, this is not a ribeye. This is a T-bone. She's like, yes, you are correct. We did not order T-bones. We ordered ribeye. Guy comes back. Like, hey, we ordered ribeye. He's like, huh, okay, let me go check on that. So he runs off. He's gone for fucking ever. And I'm like, I'm like, we're right by the kitchen. How long does it take to go back to the kitchen and say, hey, you gave these people T-bones and they ordered ribeyes?
Right.
Like, he said he had to go back and confirm. I'm like, no, you can confirm all day long. I'm like, bring the menu. I'll show you what we ordered. You just said it when you put it down. You wrote it down. That's not what you gave us. So he comes back and he says, hey, yeah, these are T-bones, but they were out of ribeye in the back. I'm like, okay, so you probably should have came out and told us that there was no ribeye. Instead, they made T-bones, and then you brought it to us without saying a fucking word. And then you also walked away when I said, these are T-bones. A T-bone and a ribeye is not the same thing. So unless you're thinking it is just because it's a cow, by that logic, a ground beef patty is the same as a ribeye steak. Yeah. So I was not happy. I was very pissed. And that's the stuff that happens. But, you know, there comes a point in time when that stuff just compounds and you're like, fuck that. This is bullshit. I'm not dealing with that shit anymore. And then, first of all, it was a shitty steak. And then we go up to pay, and the lady asks me, how was everything? I'm like, well, not great, because I ordered a ribeye and you gave me a T-bone. And then she rolled her eyes and she's like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, nope, why would I kid? Not something I would kid about. She's like, let me find out what's going on with that. So she takes off. She comes back with the waiter, and the waiter's like, yeah, what's the problem? I'm like, you gave me a T-bone steak when I ordered a ribeye, and you charged me for it. It was more expensive than the T-bone steak. And then you acted like it was
just BS.
And you acted like it was no big deal, but it is a big deal. Oh,
I
I'm
know why
sorry.
you get so angry. You weren't hugged enough as a child.
I don't know. I mean, if you've ever been hugged by Jumanji, that would be. He makes up for it. He really does. He's a great hugger.
I'm how much
I
older
never
than
believed
you,
that
Jumanji?
until I got a hug from him.
How old are you, Jumanji? How much older am I than you?
Just by a couple years.
I'm 50. How many years older? How much older?
Well, I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. 13.
13 years older than you. So do you think I've been hugging a baby Jumanji since the age of 13, Rons?
No, it suggested maybe you should.
That might have been looked upon oddly.
Well, who are they to judge? They don't know you. I think
the law, what is proper, laws against pedophiles, that sort of thing. I think that's no. Okay. So you're saying that had I been hugged more, Mike, you're saying that I would not have been angry about being given a T-bone instead of a ribeye.
I think that you would have forgiven a little bit more.
I would have forgiven a lot had they set it down and said, you know what, we were wrong. We only have T-bone. But that never happened. It was just bullshit from the beginning to the end until I finally said at the end, like, they don't cost the same. They're not the same steak. Why do you think I'm pissed?
That part I can agree with.
I agree.
There should have been some type of accommodation for that.
And I didn't tell you the worst part. This is the worst part. I mean, you should have assumed it by now. But it pains me physically to have to say anything negative about my people. And this was a Mexican restaurant full on run by a bunch of Mexicans. And I was like, you know what? I'm so fucking pissed at you guys right now. I'm not going to give you a compliment, even though I love you all. The only thing that I could think of was maybe there was white people working in the back, and that's how everything got fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's turn it against white people.
That's the only thing that I could think of. So in my mind, I was like, there was just a bunch of white people working in the back. That was the problem. But no. So no, I hate to ever have to say anything bad about that sort of thing. But I don't think hugging me would have helped. I don't know that.
So if it was black people, it probably would have been fried chicken that would have came out.
And watermelon. You racist. You racist.
Yeah, it's got a little dicey in here. Yeah.
No.
Hey, fried chicken is good.
So hell yeah.
Fried chicken is delicious.
Oh, what's that place called? Is it not Louis? What's that place called? Lee's. Lee's.
Lee's, yes.
Lee's.
Local one, yeah. It's really good. It's greasy as hell.
Hell yeah. Greasy chicken.
I like to eat it with what they call knoflook sauce. It's a garlic Dutch sauce.
I'm sorry, you like to eat it with what?
Knoflook sauce. Garlic sauce I fell in love with when I was in Europe.
Was that the second girl you ever kissed?
Yes, it was. It was.
And where does one get knoflook sauce?
Actually, you can get it.
Wait. What is it called, Beaveman?
Knoflook sauce?
What is it?
Knoflook sauce. Or a garlic sauce.
And where does one get that? They have that at Lee's Chicken?
No, but you can go.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So we should accommodate. So somehow we must acquire knoflook sauce and eat that with our Lee's
once
chicken.
again, when I lived in the Netherlands, you got it all over the place. However,
you got what all over the place?
Yeah,
What did you get all over the place?
the Knuflik sauce at the little
Oh,
shops.
you
I-
got so
I
somebody
ate
got
at.
Knuflik sauce all over you
Yes, definitely.
when you were in
definitely.
the Netherlands.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
I paid for
sure.
it too.
You paid for
Paid
it.
for
Oh,
it.
well, okay.
Yeah, always paid for it. But there's a place up in GR that actually sells the stuff. It's a little Dutch shop. And so I took Powdered Donut up one day and it's like, let's go check this out, see what they really have. And oh, she fell in love with the place. They've got Dutch coffee. It's a Dutch store, basically.
Now, did she
so.
get Knuflik sauce all over her too, or
Yes, she gets it all over her face. Sometimes it drips down. You know.
I'm
just,
sorry, Kubaki.
Yes.
so? It's
Yes.
called Knuflik sauce. That sounds
Yeah.
German.
It's Dutch.
Okay. It's Dutch.
It's Dutch.
Nederlander.
Netherlands.
Okay. All right.
Netherlands.
So look that up, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. And
I actually
Knuflik
work
sauce.
with someone who.
I don't know why I would have known that in relation to Lee's famous chicken.
Well, because when we lived over in the Netherlands,
There was no Lee's chicken in the Netherlands.
yeah, but they would serve what's called shawarmas, and they were kind of greasy chicken meat with greasy lamb meat or whatever. But they would bring out this garlic sauce, and you would put it on your meat. And
That's what she said.
yeah, okay.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Had on
And-
my sex tape.
Yeah, and I tried making a homemade version of it, and it got all over Little Powdered Donut before you start there. I knew you were gonna go there anyway.
I can
So-
only taste cum if it's deposited directly into my mouth.
All right, yeah. So when we went up to the that store, it's like, oh, we found a bottle of it. Let's take it home. So we went out and got Lee's, and she cried actually when she tried this stuff because she hadn't had it in so long time. And the chicken tastes exactly like the way she had it in the Netherlands, along with the sauce. She loved it. So
This
every
is
now
some-
and then we'll
this
go
is
up and
some
get a couple
compelling
bottles.
shit. I'm not lying.
It is.
I'm
It is
very
compelling.
interested in Knuflik sauce.
Yeah, but that's us.
Okay. And you decided to put it on Lee's famous chicken.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it was the closest thing that tasted like the chicken that we had in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Beatman, is that like the hole in the wall spot on the north side?
What?
Lee's.
Lee's is the one on Riverview. Yeah, by
Yeah, they've got a couple of places all over.
yeah. There's
town.
more than one, but the one we go to is on the one on Riverview.
Okay.
What type of chicken do you usually get?
Chicken. I get fucking chicken. What do you mean?
Well,
What kind?
they've got a
It's
couple of
fried.
different
I get
flavors,
fried
like
chicken.
barbecue.
What barbecue? I don't want to get
Yeah,
barbecue.
they got
chicken.
extra crispy.
I get
extra
the
spicy.
spicy crispy. That's what I get.
Okay.
What does Baby Yoda think?
Yes. What does Grogu think?
Well, Grogu
About
doesn't really
chicken.
talk. He doesn't really say much.
Mm.
Yeah, that's about it.
Y- You know,
okay,
I've
so-
never watched any of the
Oh
the
no,
Star
Mike!
Wars-
Don't! No, Mike!
My
No,
God.
no, Mike! No,
Really?
no,
The one,
Mike!
the one.
No, Mike!
Shut up, Ron,
What
I'm
day is this?
talking.
Yeah, no. We're trying to avoid anger issues here.
No,
All
I
right,
think
Mike, you're on your own.
I think we should have a Star Wars night where you subject me to all of them when I come down.
Oh, he can.
Oh
And
yeah.
you-
How many do you think there are? There's
4.
hours and hours and hours. What?
There's 4, isn't there?
There's 4.
And in this corner we
movies?
have the
Is that what you're
Beaveman.
asking?
What?
Are you asking if there's 4 movies?
Yeah,
I will force choke your testicles right now.
Pinky, I like it.
There's 4 movies. No, there is not 4 movies.
7?
Okay.
Oh,
All right,
oh.
wow.
Mike, I tried to stop this. I really did. This is a train wreck. It's like today, so before the podcast, I was going to wear a Star Trek shirt, and Little Powder Donut says, "You do realize it's Star Wars Day?" And I said, "Yeah, it's going to piss off the Beaveman." So, but I didn't. I got my Star Wars pajama bottoms and my Star Wars samurai shirt on.
4. There's 4 movies.
4 movies?
No, there's more than 4.
Yeah, that's not mentioning that the side movies are the canons that lead up into it. So I've got a question for Mike. I mean, keeping
Yes.
with comedy and that you're coming up and keeping with the theme, is comedy based out of anger?
Comedy, when it's really good, is based off of any emotion. You could be angry, you could be frustrated, you could be happy, sad, befuddled, all of it.
Ooh,
But
befuddled.
You say?
as long as you have a point of view, I think it works.
What do you think is probably the most funniest of all the emotions that as a comedian?
Humor.
Well,
Happiness?
I like
That
Happiness.
no, happiness ruins it for comics. No comedian I know is happy.
yeah, I was gonna say because I listen to a lot of comedians and I noticed that most of them have a running theme of anger or
No, the emotions they inspire are happiness. Because
yeah,
people
but
are
most of
laughing
the
at them.
theme is sometimes most of their themes are like the comedy is born out of anger. That's what I'm saying.
Or
You look at
tragedy, or trauma,
yeah,
Mhm.
or trying to find a parking spot.
there's a
Fucked
there's
up
a say
situation.
there's a saying that goes comedy equals tragedy plus time. So the further away you are from a tragedy, the funnier it gets. The Holocaust, hysterical.
Jesus Christ!
Nope, still too soon.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of
fine.
funny.
That's not too soon though.
Yeah.
No. There's never going to be a point in time where I think there should be any Holocaust jokes. Not in my lifetime.
I've heard a
Why is
few
that?
good ones. They're very well thought out, very well written, and funny.
What? Okay, so let's hear them.
They're not mine. I can't do them justice.
Okay, okay. I get that.
Moving on. I
Oaxaca.
totally forgot what I was going to say. That's fine though, because I can edit it out. I can make it sound all right. Yeah. Moving on. Oh, yeah. So, Mike, you said that you had steps to dealing with anger. You said it was a 3-step plan. What is it?
So when a person comes to me for counseling and they have anger issues, the first step is first week I send them away. I go, okay, write
You're like,
down.
I'm not even going to talk to you. Go away. How's
Fuck
that work
you!
out?
Yeah,
Seems terrible.
I
That
was
seems
gonna
like
say,
that
I
doesn't
mean,
work very well. Like, go
Write
get a bill in
that.
the mail. Venmo me. Step 1. You show up, get the fuck out.
I tell them write down every time you get angry between now and next session, and just what you were doing. So keeping a log of all the times you get angry, and then they come back, they bring the list, we go over it, and we look for what the triggers are. What are things that make them angry, and then we identify those. And for the second week, I tell them, okay, when you notice you get angry now, I'm gonna want you to notice it and say to yourself or to another person, I'm angry. So you get used to acknowledging and understanding when you're angry. And they do that for 3 or 4 weeks, depending on how long they need to practice it. And then the third step is they they say they're angry. They notice they're angry, they say they're angry, and then they say it to the person they're angry with in a respectful way, and like either remove themselves from the situation or come up with an alternate idea. Like you know what, I'm feeling angry right now. Can we come back to this conversation later? Or I need a minute. I'm gonna go for a walk or something.
I think the thing that pisses me off is when I give people the answers that I said, okay, I'm having a bad day. How do you deal with people that keep pressing you though? I mean, you obviously you try to walk yourself out of the situation or you talk to them, but what if they keep pressing? What do you do then?
My ex did that to me once.
Again, they keep pressing you because you sit there and you allow them to keep talking instead of saying, "Hey, leave me the fuck alone."
My ex did that to me once, and I go, "Really?" And then I blew up at him, and it was just an all-out fight. And then I go, "See, you should have let me wait."
You should have listened to me.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions about your technique, Mike. I feel
Mhm.
like that's it's a good technique, but it also makes me feel like you don't deal with very angry people because if you ask me to write down everything that makes me angry and then you go over it, you don't have enough time to go over it. One, I won't stop writing. You'll get a bunch of volumes, and there's no way you're going to go over that in our next session together. I would
Yeah,
have even given up. I'd just be dictating it. I'm like, okay, well, this pissed me off, and an hour later,
I think it would work really well with you because if you're angry all the time, you're angry about everything. So we want to really narrow it down to figure out what exactly you are angry at because it can't be everything. It can't be the guy crossing the street or the person who got your auto run. There has to be a common theme to it. And so we want to find out that common theme.
no, the common thing was, I think the common theme is that most people are fucking morons. That's what makes me angry. You know what happened? This is what I do. I cut things out of my life for a period of time until I'm not angry anymore, or until I get down to a nice boiling, not boiling point. And so the thing that I've cut out of my life right now is the dojo. I don't go to the dojo because that was the one thing that I could manipulate relatively easy. So I don't go. I only occasionally go now. And we went the other day because things at the dojo made me mad too. We go the other day, things were fine. We're getting ready to wrap up, and this is a day when Ron's is there also. And of course, Ron's always makes me mad too, but that's normal. But we were
He's in a
wrapping up,
different. Yeah. Let's explain something. He's actually in a different style than me, so he has nothing to do with whatever I do on my side.
except laugh at them. We laugh at them a lot. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we're sitting there, and my instructor, my sensei, is going over things with this guy who's training to be a black belt. So we're going over everything. We're talking everything. And his classes on his side are done. Like they're all kind of whatever, putting stuff away. Well, there was a bunch of kids on his side, and they all had giant sticks called bows, which are staffs, and they just kept dropping them over and over and over again. Now, one or two times you drop it, that's fine. But they just kept dropping them. And the adults weren't saying anything to the children who were dropping them. It's very
Yeah.
disrespectful. So it
Okay.
just
No.
continues to
I
happen.
understand. Yeah.
So finally, I turned and I was like, how many times are you going to let them drop those freaking sticks? Because it was so disrespectful. Like if they'd have done that on my side, I'd have made them do 10 push-ups every time they dropped it. Like, but no, when my instructor's talking and we're training and they're dropping sticks and a bunch of adults are standing there watching them doing it, not doing anything, that's extremely disrespectful. So had it not been for the fact that I was already pissed at being there and that shit just never stopped, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Here's the fucked up thing is my people who were with me was like, oh, Beaveman's going to go off. And they were excited because they're like, they couldn't wait for me to go off. They were all like, oh, please let him go off because he's going to go off huge. And I'm like, no, it's not really funny because if I go, I am going to go off. I'm like, and this is why I don't come. I'm like, because I'm already pissed and then that shit goes on. So, yeah.
So they were playing a game.
They were playing a game, dropping a stick on the hardwood floors, and you guys were letting it happen.
I
They
would
were playing a
say,
game.
"Yo, I'm talking." I would say your trigger is feeling disrespected.
No. We don't respect John whatsoever.
It's Beaveman, but I'll edit that out also. Thank you, Rons.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I love to edit all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, but no, it was hugely disrespectful. And if they were playing a quote game, they should have been playing that game outside, where we don't have to hear them slam their sticks onto the floor.
Understood.
But whatever.
Now, why didn't you bring this to my attention?
What do you mean? Why didn't it bring to your attention? If you're not adult enough to do something like that when it's clearly obnoxious,
well, they
or
were,
annoying,
once again, if they were
what
in the
game? What
middle
game
of
were they
playing,
playing? What game were they playing? Where they were kept on?
it's this where you say right or left, Miggy Haddadi, and they've got to grab the other person's bow, so they switch basically the bow. So they let go of the bow, they got to run to the right and grab the other person's bow.
So the game is not to drop the stick, though.
Yeah, but it happens.
The game is to drop the stick.
No, the game is not.
Okay,
to
so
drop
do
the
you
stick.
see where you said that they were playing a game?
Yeah.
So if you were making excuses for them playing a game, I'm assuming that the way of playing that game is to drop the stick.
Okay.
But you just explained it, and that doesn't seem like what the game is. So the point is not to drop the stick, is it?
No, but it does
but
happen.
They kept doing it. Oh, clearly it happens a fucking lot. And so, yeah. So maybe they could play that outside. Spring, maybe they could. Oh, but they can't take their precious bows outside, right? But they can drop their precious bows on our nice hardwood floor where you guys keep dropping your fucking size and everything, right?
Hey, I helped install that floor too.
And then you should be a little bit more protective of it.
I am. I don't drop all my weapons on there.
Just the sharp ones. Just
the sharp ones that leave holes in it.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't drop his testicles on it.
Did you say testicles?
Right. Testicles.
Oh, okay.
Sexticles? Your sexticles? All right. Well, anyway, and that's why I don't go to the dojo. Now I probably won't go back even for longer.
Okay.
Because I don't want to force choke a bunch of people. And it wouldn't have been the children I choked either, Rons.
Ooh.
It would have been the adults.
Which one?
You guys,
me?
all you guys, I'd have choked out.
Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. More? Is that how it goes?
I mean, this isn't your bedroom with what you do with one of your many hoes. No, this is the choking you're gonna wake up with later. But at least at this time, when you wake up, you're not gonna have anything shoved in your ass.
And the point being?
Well, I mean, it's not gonna be good for you this time. It's gonna be a bad.
Well, I'll decide that, not you.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll decide that. All right. Well, anyway, I understand.
That's all right. Jumanji's gonna agree with me because he always agrees with me anyway. He's like, your anger. He's like, your anger was justified. You should have killed them all.
I wonder what makes you go from 0 to 100 so quick.
The continuous dropping. Not like you dropped like one or two times, but the thing is that they just kept doing it, and the adults are just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, we're having a discussion over here, and you can tell that we're not interested in your constant high intensity noise dropping on the floor.
Was I there?
Yes, you were. You were watching them. You were
That's
right there watching them.
That's not the question to ask right now, Ron.
Well,
you were watching them. No. Your sensei was watching them. Yep, you guys were all just sitting there watching them, which I found really amazing because I expected one of them to drop it once and for your head guy to go off because he goes off on very little, but he didn't. He was just sitting there. Guess he wasn't feeling well. I don't know.
Okay, I get it.
But then I wonder what's the barrier in moments like that where you can't or don't interject yourself sooner before you reach that feeling of hearing that stick drop for the 20th time.
Well, because I expect the adults over there to do something, not just to sit there and let it happen over and over again. But they didn't. So that's their responsibility. I should never have to say anything to any of them.
Yeah, and when the Beaveman is in his own world, I can't intercede. If I think there's something wrong, I can't say anything to him. Right? It's his life, his world. Right? There's a mutual respect where even if I think it's wrong, I'll talk to him outside of class. I really will. But there's a lot of things that we don't talk about class to class.
Yeah, there's no reason for me to say anybody in his class. One of the funniest things I ever saw though was somebody. This was like, oh my god, this had to be like 6 or 7 years ago. One of our guys was walking across the floor to our side, and one of the kids on Ron's side, because we walked past them to get to our side, told our black belt that his belt was tied wrong. And he was just like, oh, okay, and he just kept walking over, and then he was in his own head. He's like, is my belt tied wrong? And we're like, we tie our belts. Well, like, we don't have a specific way to tie ours. You can tie them over or under, depending on how they look. So we're like, no, I'm like, and even if it was tied wrong, why are you gonna let some little kid over there tell you your belt's tied wrong? He should have shut the fuck up. And then he ended up getting his ass chewed by, I'm pretty sure it was your sensei who chewed the kid's ass out. He's like, he can tie his belt however he wants. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
Like, they're not in our style. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He don't even have to. He can tie his belt in the freaking bow if he wants. It's none of your business.
Yeah, there is mutual respect for all the styles there. There is. But yeah, if someone steps over a certain line and you bring it to our attention, we'll address it. But if you don't address it, we can't help you with it. Right, so, next time that happens, it's bothering you, come and find me. You'll just give
me some stupid excuse, and I'll be like,
no, I won't.
Well, never mind. I'll be like, never mind. I'll just bring it up in the podcast.
Okay, so and that's fantastic if you want to. I get that. I honestly do that. I like that. It's cool.
Yeah, no, but again, that's why, when all that stuff boils over, that's, there's nobody who's sitting there going, oh, Beaveman, you should calm down. No, most people are like, yeah, you should let him have it. I'm like, no. Okay. And usually, and I don't know if, actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's because people do that's what immediately makes me think that I won't do it. I'm like, oh, because they're like, oh, you should do that. Then I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's not a rational thought. Maybe I won't. Or maybe it's just because they want me to do it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it because you want me to. That's how I take that control back. Like, no, I'm not doing it. So there
you go.
Even though I really want
to. Do it yourself.
Do it your own damn self. No. Anyway. Well, I've learned a lot of good coping mechanisms today. I haven't. That's fine.
Well, I've got a story on the therapist thing, if you guys want to hear it.
We do. Let's hear it.
Okay. So a mutual friend of ours was going to become a counselor, right? And
I don't know. Was she?
Well, you know the person personally, actually. And they approached me. They said, hey, I need a guinea pig.
Hey, what was my first indicator that I might know that person was when you said they were a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I was approached. I said, yeah, what do you need me to do? It's like, I just got to kind of,
prison.
I think, film it or audio it. And can you show up at this time? I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, we set up a date and we're going to go do it. And then I got the text that, or the call or something, I have to cancel because something came up. And I'm like, okay, can we reschedule? I'm like, yeah. So I got to thinking, how fucked up am I when my therapist has to reschedule on me? So I was like, wow, that was interesting. And then,
oh, hold on, was that?
Nobody came here for a finger bang.
Nope, wrong one.
Nope.
Oh, was that a joke? Was that a joke that you were saying? Was there like, oh,
yeah, it was a joke.
Was that somebody didn't? Okay,
interesting.
I had to do another fill-in. I was approached again to, hey, the person that I was going to do this second paper on didn't show up. Could you come in and fill out a 300 questionnaire and I could counsel you? I said, okay. So I came in, I filled out a long ass,
it was
300 questionnaire.
Questions?
What?
It was 300 questions, really?
Something like that. Yeah.
I would have been like, nope, I don't need help. Like,
yeah,
nope,
I should have.
Don't need help.
So anyway, I did that, and then we had we did a session, which I thought was really interesting. But I said, all I need to know is, what type of grade you got. I just want to know whether it was good or not. The person got back to me, and it turned out that they passed with flying colors. So somewhere in the archives, there's this fucked up person who helped get this person passed. So that's pretty cool. So I guess I was screwed up enough to get them passed. So that was interesting. So I will ask Mike this: what made you go into therapy?
I don't know. It was something I was good at, and that's it really. Like, I left stand up and I went into a therapy training program. And
now, has your therapy training program
probably let him
added to your comedy routine?
He'd literally probably tell you. He'd probably fill you in if you just let him talk.
Okay.
There you go. Give it a try.
Sorry.
Yeah, I use some of it in my therapy, but like they're very different mindsets. I don't know if you noticed that, but um, like when I was talking to Beaveman, I was thinking like a therapist instead of talking like you know, whatever I talk like.
That is so cool. So is it hard to turn it off being a counselor? I mean, this goes out to Jumanji too, who's also a counselor at one point. Is it hard to turn it off when you talk to people?
Um, no, well, yes and no. Like when when I decide I want to be funny, I'm funny, but I can do both at once. But I can also be a dick, so that's fun.
No way.
Totally way.
Yeah, I would agree. It's usually going into a conversation with someone. I know, like sometimes my role is to show up as a friend first, and if that's the case, then that's how I'm going to show up, as opposed to, and not to say that I don't necessarily think through that lens of a counselor as I'm having that conversation, but in those moments, I still know how to operate as a friend first.
Right.
So,
But you're like, I've been doing this so long, my language has changed, and I'll talk
correct.
like a counselor all the time, and it annoys the fuck out of me.
That's interesting. That really is interesting. So what how do you turn it off then? How do you turn it off? I mean, yeah, obviously you approach everybody as a friend, but when you start to slip back into a therapist role when you don't want to, how do you turn it off?
Like it's just saying, like if you're talking to a friend, instead of being caring, you're like, listen, that's fucking bullshit. Stop your shit and just figure it out. Whereas if you're a client, if you're doing that with the client, you can't always say that.
I was gonna say, do you want to ever say that? Like, shut up, really?
I've thought to myself during sessions with people, would this person just shut the fuck up? You're telling me the same shit every day.
What about you, Jumanji?
What part?
About everything about that question.
All the parts.
I think I answered parts of it. But how necessarily how to turn it off?
Yeah.
You just don't do it.
So when we were at the B-Man's birthday party, you were spot on. You were calm, cool, collective. I mean, you didn't even get upset when your boyfriend said, "Oh, I don't like chocolate." We all went, "Ooh, that's gonna be weird," but you just kind of laughed everything off. That was really cool. You handle yourself in public situations really
Well, how is he
excellent.
supposed to
Yeah.
handle?
So, yeah, I think I'm not necessarily like two different people.
Yeah, was he supposed to throw a gay temper tantrum? Is that what you expected?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Like you think I'm gonna like show up out in public as like a drag queen, but on here I show up
And
as
just a big glitter bomb when he leaves the room.
Go ahead, Miss Fang.
shark and glitter.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate, really, honestly, because all the mental health issues in this country, the world, obviously, whatever. The problem is that most people don't seek help for their mental health anyway,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and the people that do seek help, it's only a small percentage that actually go see people like Mike and Jumanji or whatever. Most people who get into that realm only see their primary care provider. No matter how much we ask them to go get counseling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people don't. I bet it's less than. My guess is it's probably less than 20% of the people that are on medications actually go to see psychology, psychiatry.
I tell people all the time, you wouldn't go to a foot doctor if you had chest pain. So why
Right.
are you gonna not go to a psychiatrist for medication?
No, yeah, the majority of people who are on mental health medications, it's from their primary care. It's not from psychology, psychiatry. Well,
Mhm.
psychology doesn't prescribe anyway, but psychiatry, no. Most people don't go. You beg them to go, and they don't go. It's the majority is it's from primary care, and it's not that we're not trained in it. It's just not what we. One, I don't like doing it. I've always told my patients that I'm like, I don't like doing it. I'm like, I'm here for you, but if you tell me you want to quit your job, I'll be like, go quit your job then. You tell me you don't like your wife, I'll tell you to get a divorce. You don't like your wife, don't go get a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't like your kids, run away. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? I'm like, that's not my thing. You know, you want advice? Sure, I'll give it to you. Don't like your job, quit. Can't come back on me. Told you right away. I'm like, that's not what I do. It's not my thing.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it is.
Because also seeking counseling doesn't necessarily always mean that this beautiful picture gets painted out in this typical ideal way that's been portrayed in the movies. Like that's not necessarily real life. And as you said, if you're not happy, leave.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, leave. Find your happiness. So.
Yeah, I mean, going to counselors, things like that, going to psychologists, going to a registered counselor, licensed counselor, whatever. They're not gonna. People think that they're gonna tell you what to do too. They also don't tell you what to do.
They don't.
They teach you the tools to find that. They guide you. You're guided, but they don't tell you what to do.
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, it's all about it's still the same thing. It's still taking accountability for yourself.
I agree.
I mean, my psychologist is different because, he just agrees with me. He's like, he'll say stuff like, yeah, that would make you mad. I see what you probably should punch that person in the head or whatever. I'm like, this is why you're a great psychologist. Yeah.
So basically you go to a psychologist with your point of view. I mean, is that really good?
Yeah. He's just affirming what I say. He's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You probably should have beat those adults up for letting those kids drop the sticks all over the place.
Well,
you should take it out on the guy that you do the podcast with. That's what you should do. Like, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
No.
But then I also wonder if people who do go to counseling is because they don't necessarily have a group of friends that they can just honestly talk open with. So then they go to someone who doesn't necessarily know them on a daily, basis of life and engage in conversation with them, but give others what they want to give them as opposed to who they naturally are. So I wonder if people having more genuine and honest and open relationships as friends, if that could even be of support. But if you have that circle.
Well, I mean, but part of that though, like one of the questions I ask persons that seek that sort of help is, do you have a good support system in place? If they say yes, then I ask what your support system is. But I also say this to them. Okay, you also have to remember that your support system is not there to be your counselor, because what you can actually do is strain that relationship if all you ever do is talk about how things are affecting your life and how terrible things are and expect them to give you advice and be that ear to listen to. That's not really, that actually strains your relationship. So that's why I tell people, like, you can have a support system, but that's not your counselor. That's, that's your friend. They have problems too. They're not here to get, and people don't want, and maybe this is what psychology is based off of, or not psychiatry, but psychology or whatever, but people don't really want advice. They don't want solutions. Really? No, they really don't. And this is something that I've told Swan forever, because she's always like, oh, my friends are complaining about this, and I told them this, and I told them that, and I told them this. I'm like, I don't know how many times you've told you, but they don't want you to tell them how to fix something. They want you to listen. They don't want your solution. If you would just learn how to listen without giving your solution, they'd probably do better. And then also you wouldn't come home to me and say, well, I don't know why they don't listen to me. I gave them the answer because they don't want the answer. And I don't want to hear that you gave them the answer and that you're mad that they didn't listen.
I never thought of it like that. That's a really good point. Right? Because I guess when I'm angry, I should just take the way you guys are describing stuff is like when you're angry, take a step back, which is really cool. But I think also in that moment when we're angry, we don't listen. We're too hopped up on probably adrenaline and stuff like that. And we should just take a step back and listen, not only to our inner voice, but to everything around us. And that might give us some sort of guidance about the situation that we're in, whether we can control it or not. But that's an interesting point.
But Ross.
Yeah.
And you all told me if you feel different. You do that.
I do what?
You take a step back. As to the Beaveman, he doesn't.
I would like
Fuck
to
you,
say
Jumanji.
I
No, I'm
don't.
kidding.
No.
No,
Fuck
actually,
you,
what
Jumanji. Just shut the fuck up.
there are times where I don't. I'm just like the Beaveman. I will fly off, right? And I'm not proud of how I do it. I'm not. I really am. I mean, I try not to, but I do, right? And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I am a dick, right? And there are times where I don't say anything and I get walked on. The B-man's right. You guys are right. It's like, you become a mat. So, I have yet to find that fine line.
Well, you're
just yet.
you're occupationally a mat on this show, so don't start like getting some major chip on your shoulder or arguing about everything. That's your job.
Yeah.
Don't grow any hair on your
Yeah,
chest.
don't
Oh, I already
arguing
have
with
hair
that.
on my chest. I'm a big boy now.
But yeah, no. Part of that though is I think that yes, you shouldn't be a welcome mat or a carpet or whatever, and you should be your own best barometer. The problem is, even if you're your own best barometer, sometimes people refuse to recognize that. And if they don't recognize that, then it makes things so much worse. Case in point, like Swan giving her friends advice when they don't want advice, they just want you to listen. Same thing with, I've told her for years, I'm like, if I'm angry and I ask you to go away, or I try to go away and I tell you I need to get away, let me go. Don't chase after me. Don't try to, quote, make it better. Just let me go. I know for a fact, I know this about me personally, that I'm an asshole. I freely admit that. I freely admit that I'm not proud of my behavior to my family. Like my children know, my wife knows. I've done nothing except try to be honest about that the
Yeah, no,
entire
I
time I've
completely
been in my
understand where you're coming from
relationship.
on that.
So
I understand exactly. What I said earlier, you give them the answers. You're like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. And once again, it goes back to what I said earlier as well. It's like they're pushing and it's like, okay, what part of don't you understand I'm getting pissed? Don't push me. Just kind of let me deal with it as I need to. And then, okay. But you guys have some great advice too, like walk away from the situation or be like Jumanji and go, that's interesting. How do you feel about that?
yeah,
Do you need a hug?
yeah, I don't do that. Don't be asking how you feel about that. I'll tell you how I feel about that. Yeah, all those questions that they teach you how to act, what to ask, and rephrase. And here's my favorite one is, you go in and you're like, oh, Doc, I'm feeling really down right now about my home life, and this is what they train you to do because you're not 100% trained, and that's you're trained, but that's not your main focus. So they're like, well, just rephrase that question. So if I'm listening to what you said, what you're saying is you're just not happy about how things are going in your home life right now. And they're like, well, yeah. Okay, could you expand on that? Yeah, my wife is making me really angry because she keeps spending money on stupid shit. So let me get this straight. Are you saying that it makes you angry that your wife is spending money on things that you feel are not of value? And then they're like, yeah, that's literally what I just fucking said.
That's Rogerian. That's the Rogerian method.
Like, so let me just keep restating what you just stated. Like, yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, and then how does that make you feel? Well, it makes me mad because I'm not happy about how things are going on in my home life, and I'm mad about how she is spending money on stupid stuff. Okay, I hear what you're saying. So what you're saying is you're mad.
So
All
to
right.
be a therapist, you just repeat what they say. That's interesting. I like that.
And then you finally get to a point where you're like, okay, so let's go over all this. This is what you've said to me so far, and I'm just making sure that I understand it. And you repeat it all back to them. And they just like, how do you feel like you could deal with that in a more effective manner? And then the patient's like, well, I don't know because I came here to you to tell you how things are going so that maybe I could get some fucking help.
And then you're like, I'm paying $100 for this bullshit. Get the
This
fuck out of it.
is bullshit. Right. Whereas what I would do is, hey, what's up? All right, they tell me, I'm like, okay, yeah, that does sound shitty. Okay. Well, as we all know, I am not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psych NP. I'm not a mental health nurse practitioner. So here's what I got for you. We could do some counseling. I could refer you for some counseling. I could refer you to a psychiatrist, but God knows you're not going to get in to see one of those in for a year because they basically suck ass. And or you could do that, and I could put you on some medication, and we could go from there. How about that? All right, boom, done. Okay, great. What do I do about this? Yeah, I don't know, man. I can give you the advice, but it's probably a bad idea because I'm not supposed to do that. But I will anyway. Don't like your job? Quit. Don't like your wife? Get it over.
I was once sitting in the office during a session with somebody, and they're telling me all the shit they've been through, and I think it's a first session, and my initial thought was, holy shit, this person needs a therapist. I gotta find them somebody.
I gotta get them some help.
And then I'm like, oh wait, that's me.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting how you guys go through your the mental breakdown of everything, and I'm wondering if you guys ever think like, holy shit, you are that screwed up, and there's nothing I can do for you. That's got to be an interesting take.
When the patients ask you, do you think you can help me? Nope. No, I can't. I think you're beyond
Wow.
help, buddy.
Yeah. No, that's a rough one. But you can't. I mean, you can give people tools. You give people tools.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
One of my favorite jokes came from a day after I saw like 6 back-to-back rape victims and the
Wow.
incest survivors, and my energy was just spent, and I thought to myself, I'm gonna write a children's book about rape. I'm gonna call it "Why Does
That's
Daddy Love Me So
demented
Much?"
as fuck.
I'm gonna call it "Why Does Daddy Love Me So Much?"
Oh, Jesus, that's demented. I
Mhm.
like it, but it's demented.
Yeah, and you stepped right on the punchline, Ron. Right on.
Yeah. That's
I'm so sorry. I was just like taken aback by it.
yeah, we've had this
But
I've had these little tutorial talks, and I didn't think I had to keep giving them before we podcasted, where I said, if one of us seems to be building to something, there's going to be a natural pause. And in that natural pause, no matter how much you want to say something because think you're clever, don't.
He was just
no, I'm
complimenting
sorry.
me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a natural reaction to his joke. I thought it was I thought it was sick and
That
demented.
was just the setup.
Wow. The
Yeah.
setup was great. I look forward to reading that book. Is it a coloring book too?
Right.
There's a majority of the color is red because of all the blood.
Well, we don't really have time to do Pride Side chat today because I'm sure Ron doesn't have a good question anyway.
I always got a question for him.
Yeah, I said good question. I said I'm sure you don't have a good question. I did want to take this moment though to I had some notes here. I did want to take this moment though to apologize. I'm sorry. What am I apologizing for? I'm apologizing for insulting our lesbian listeners. I inadvertently stereotyped you as softball players who dress like the Rons. And it wasn't the major insult that the softball player thing. It was comparing you to Rons, and that's what I'm apologizing for.
Jesus.
I apologize. You all do dress much better than he does. That was a generalization. I'm sorry.
Actually, you're not too far off the mark. I work with a lot of lesbians.
Didn't say. Again, this is not what the Beaveman has said. I am apologizing for my former comments. Thank you. If Ron's wants to continue to say what he wants to say, please go ahead and do so.
No, you're right. You're okay. I apologize.
Wait, what?
What?
There you go.
What just happened?
I don't know. I'll just go in. I'll just say it. Whatever.
Hey, well, you don't have to. That's fine. All right. Well, that's it for me. It's probably promotion time. We will be at the Pride Fest in Kalamazoo, June 3rd. We will have a booth, so look for us there. We're going to have some stuff to give away, and I think we're going to have a drawing too. I think that the plan is we're going to have stuff that everybody gets, your swag. And then we're also I think we're going to have 5 drawings for gift bags. I think it's going to be 5. Don't quote me on that. Not 100% sure, but there will be some sort of a drawing. Fun times. And of course, we will also be at the Crawl Space Comedy Theater on June 1st, which is the first day, obviously, it's the first day, because I said June 1st, of Pride Month. And we will be bringing Funny Man, Don't Call Me Michael, Mike Cotayo, to that venue as our headliner. So those tickets are on sale now, and there will be a link attached to our podcast if you don't already have your tickets. And remember, if you get tickets as a member or a fan of our show, make sure you message us on Facebook or Instagram and say which member of the show you bought tickets in honor of. And it should be me, because I want to win. I want to have the most people there. But I think Swan's already beat
And if he doesn't, he'll get very angry.
And I think Swan's already beat us. I think she's already got like 20 people coming so far.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I've been pumping it out on my Facebook page, but
you've been pumping it out on your Facebook page. It's an interesting use of words. I don't know that you should be.
Thank you, Jumanji. Thank you.
I don't know that you should be pumping things out on people, but all right. Well, and then of course, shout out to JD Hutchins of the Monsters Lair. Looking forward to some new episodes, JD, where you're not snorting mucus up your nose loudly into the microphone. As amusing as that was, oh no, it was very wet sounding. I don't know if you heard it, Ron. I think I might have to make some sound bites from it. Actually, it was a lot of mucus, but that's okay. All right, well, that's it for me, the Beaveman. Happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Tomorrow will be Revenge of the 5th, and of course, this is the May. All good Star Wars stuff. I'm gonna watch some Star Wars stuff tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All 4 movies?
Yeah, all 4 of them. Yeah, all 4.
How many are there?
I will force choke you right now.
How many are there?
I will force choke you right now.
Serious question. Come on.
There's the original trilogy, and then there's the next trilogy, and then there's the trilogy after that, and then there's the runoff movies from there as well that are part of now canon.
So at least 9.
Yeah. Well, Rogue One and Solo, so that's 11. Plus whatever, plus all the Clone Wars, Rebels, all the shorts.
Animations.
The Mandalorian series, the Kenobi series, soon to be having Ahsoka. Yeah, okay, keep it up. Yeah, I'll fucking force choke you. And if I can't, I'll send somebody. I know where you live. I'll send somebody to choke you. Not in a good way.
I get into that.
Not in a good way. Nope, they will not choke you in a good way. Absolutely not.
It's always in a good way.
They're gonna choke you. They're gonna choke you with a bunch of vaginas. That's gonna scare the shit out of you.
Even better.
All right. Well, that's it for me then. Adios. Fuckos. You think Jumanji knows he's muted when he's about to say deuces?
Yeah, he.
Well, I was waiting for Ron's because I thought he was going to come in, but deuces.
Before I sign off,
no, because Ron's, you go last. You always go last.
I know, okay. Mike. You want to tell us about what you got coming up?
Ooh, nice job, number 2.
I got nothing. No, I'm kidding. May 14th, I will be at a VFW for Mother's Day brunch. Then I'll be in Pennsylvania later that night. And then on the 16th to the 20th, I'm in Colorado. Check my website for where and when. And that's it.
Do you get to eat at those things? If you go there for the brunch or whatever, do you get to eat?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
You
Yeah.
think so?
I think so. I'm bringing my appetite.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's it?
Yeah, he
Mhm.
said that was it.
Okay, then from the Rons, right? Stay saying, motherfuckers, it's gonna get crazy out there.
Is it? So yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how the JJ works.